Good morning and thank you. It's great to be here to celebrate the Port Authority's NBE, Network of Black Employees, Black History Month celebration. And certainly great to be here. My name is Huntley Lawrence, Chief Operating Officer for the Port Authority, Director of the Aviation Department. And for this month, I know we're celebrating first within the Port Authority organization, and I get the pleasure of talking about my experience as the first African American Director of Aviation at the Port Authority. The Aviation Department at the Port Authority goes back well over 70 years when the Port Authority took on the airports from the city of New York in 1948. We were also at Teterboro Airport well before that because Teterboro Airport is owned by the Port Authority. But throughout that period and very, very rich history, there have been quite a few leaders in our department at the aviation director level. Before me, Tom Bosco, before Tom, Susan Baer, before Susan Baer, Bill Dakota, and quite a few leaders before then. But I'm fortunate to be the first person of color in this position, and really a privilege to serve in this organization in this capacity. What does it mean being first in this particular role? Well, I think it means that I can really look back to the many people who have supported me along the way to allow me to gain the background and experience and trust of employees and also leaders throughout this organization so I can be in this role. But also, when I consider the challenges to ascend to this position, I have to think about what that means for the future of the aviation department and future leaders. By that I mean, being the first means I also have to be conscious and mindful of what it took for me to get through this journey and to be where I am today. And what I think that means also is that I've got to make sure that there is a way for others who are similarly situated, and even for those who are not, to get opportunities within the aviation department and across now all line departments in the agency under my leadership as Chief Operating Officer. So my goal is not to be the first aviation director alone, but also to be the person responsible for the second, the third, and fourth aviation director. The person responsible for not just the one or two general managers who we've had in the past, like Ben DaCosta most recently at the Newark Liberty International Airport, and before him, Dick Rowe as the general manager of JFK International Airport, but to also make sure that for division manager positions, facility manager positions, and throughout the entire pipeline, that there are opportunities for people of color, for females and other minorities. So I think that's what really is important for me in terms of being first. But let me talk about some of the challenges along the way. I've had the opportunity to be a field supervisor, levels 2 through 7. Taught me a lot about working with the front line and the way folks have to struggle to be heard across this organization. People have different perspectives, different ideas, but oftentimes their views are not heard, and many times their views are co-opted by others, and those other individuals get credit, and oftentimes people do not get credit. I experienced those challenges along the way, and I experienced a lot of challenges where I was rejected for certain positions. As a matter of fact, I just recently heard from a former director of aviation congratulating me on this role, but he was actually one of the individuals that blocked me from a role many, many years ago. And what I learned from that was that despite this individual thinking that he knew the right place for me to be, I had to really plot my own course to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. My point was that there was a lot of struggles along the way in terms of people that had blocked me, but there were also people that looked out for me, and people of all different genders, people of different colors that all looked out for me in a sense of fairness. That's always what I looked at across this organization, people that focus on a sense of fairness. I never look for an advantage, but just be fair, treat us equally, and give me an opportunity to present what I have to offer. And I think along the way, I found enough people at all different levels. From the FS levels, I think about people like Yvonne Six, who was a black airport duty manager at JFK. I think about Jim Durant, who was a 9-9 at JFK. I think about Barbara Hebron, who was a black 9-9. They were among the first African-American 9-9s that we had in our ranks. There were a couple more that were at Newark Airport as well. Those individuals who I worked with in the trenches looked out for me. When I was a B-level manager starting at the bottom, folks like Mario Diaz, who's now the head of aviation for Houston airports, looked out for me. When I was an FS working at JFK, Ray Hinson, who was an FS9, not a person of color, but Ray believed in me and gave me an opportunity, even when his colleagues didn't want me to be at JFK. And that was an interesting story back then because I had been accepted for a position, then rejected, accepted, then rejected. So it took 6 months for a decision to be made just for one position because there were folks that didn't want me to be in those jobs. So my point is that there are a lot of struggles and challenges along the way. The real important thing is to persevere and continue to focus on being the best you can be in the role that you're in, contributing to the organization, contributing to the mission, and really giving yourself an opportunity to grow.